Are you a woman in your 40s or 50s who are finding that you're having more joint pain, more achiness, stiffness, or maybe you're not recovering from injuries the way you used to? This is not just a function of age, this is also related to your fluctuating hormones. My name is Dr. Robin Armstrong. I'm a chiropractor at Willowbrook Chiropractic in Langley. Today I'm specifically going to talk about the impact of those midlife hormones and what they do to your joints. So there's three effects that this fluctuating hormones can have on our joints, and that's an increase in inflammation, a decrease in stability, and a decrease in our tolerance to pain. So first, let's talk about inflammation. So when we're thinking about our joints, the hormones that are important are progesterone, which is naturally anti-inflammatory, and then there's two types of estrogen, one which is more inflammatory, one which is less, and then cortisol. So as we're aging, our progesterone starts to decrease, as well as that anti-inflammatory estrogen, meaning that that inflammatory estrogen is relatively higher. As well, there's an increase in the cortisol. So when that inflammatory estrogen is higher, our progesterone is lower, we're going to feel more achiness, more stiffness, more inflammation generally, which is going to mean fluid retention as well. And that inflammation can have global impacts on all the systems of our body, including one of them is our iron stores. So we may end up being iron deficient during this time period, and that iron deficiency can also lead to some joint pain. Increase in cortisol during that menopausal time means that we have more achiness in our muscles and tight feeling. And there's even a term called menopausal arthritis. So it's a bit of a misnomer, but it's shown that women in this time period have joint changes to their knees, for example, that mimic arthritis because of that increased inflammation and some swelling around the joints. So the other aspect we need to think about is our joint stability. So progesterone naturally creates tension in our connective tissues. Estrogen naturally makes it looser. So when there's that imbalance, that progesterone is lower, that estrogen is higher, then we don't have as much stability around our joints. So during this time period, we're a bit more prone to injuries of our knees, of our shoulders, because there's just not that joint stability there. And then the last one is our pain tolerance. So we know that when our cortisol is higher, like in times of stress, that we feel pain a little bit more. And with that perimenopausal transition, our progesterone is lower, our cortisol is higher, then we know that our pain intensity is going to be a little bit greater than it used to be. And of course, this is also a stressful time period for many women. You know, we might be managing the care of our children alongside the care of aging parents, not to mention like managing our homes, our life. So that stress response can also contribute to that decrease in pain tolerance. And I did a little talk about pain, understanding pain, and what that's about. And you can find that on our YouTube channel if you want to specifically understand a little bit more about cortisol and its impacts on our pain. Now, it's not all bad news. What can we do about these changes? So first, you can talk to your family doctor. Share with them all these symptoms you're feeling, as well as any other perimenopausal symptoms, so that you can develop a plan moving forward. When it comes to inflammation, you can think about diet and exercise, good old-fashioned. But we want to think about less inflammatory foods, so less, sugary soft drinks, fried foods, high saturated fats, processed foods. Think more about whole foods, thinking about anti-inflammatory foods like berries and leafy greens and fish high in omega-3 fatty acids. That's going to help you get your inflammation under control a little bit more. And then exercise. So it's been found that a sprint training, interval type training at high intensities can actually create an anti-inflammatory effect in our bodies. Now, you may not feel like you're ready to be sprinting, but you can take this high intensity approach to your current exercise. So if you're a walker, you want to think about doing short, intense bouts of higher intensity. So you might walk faster for 30 seconds and then walk easy and then walk fast for 30 seconds and walk easy and repeat that a number of times. Or maybe you go up the hill and then down the hill, up the hill and down the hill. It's these short bursts of higher intensity that give you that anti-inflammatory effect. You can take that into weight training as well. Same thing, 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, higher intensity during that first 30 seconds. And when it comes to weight training, this is where we're going to get some stability. So because we're not having as much stability around our joints, it's important for us to strength train, not to mention the benefits of weight bearing and strength exercise on our bone density. So if we can increase that tension in the tissues through strength training. That's going to give us more stability. Now, if you are uncomfortable with lifting weights or you've never done any strength training before, I've done a number of videos using bands, and you can start there. The last one is mobility. So we know that when our cortisol increases, we're getting that achiness, that stiffness in our joints. Doing some mobility and stretching can help relieve some of that tension that we're feeling in there. And we've done a number of different stretching videos that you can find on our channel. So of course, you Google anything during this time period and it's going to come back and tell you that's a perimenopausal symptom. But every now and then you might also just have good old-fashioned neck pain or back pain or joint pain, and we can help you with that. If you want to book online, you can book at willowbrookchiropractic.com. We post regular content under Willowbrook Chiropractic on YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. If you have any questions about what I've talked about here today, please feel free to ask myself, Dr. Robin Armstrong, or Dr. Jody Freedman. We're always happy to help.